Hi, I'm Rebecca with Cherish Children Ministries. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about the different learning styles and what the different characteristics of those learning styles are. You'll be able to grab a download in the description box so that you can determine which style fits your child best. This will be the first video in a series of videos that I'll be doing on the different learning styles. I'll be giving you some accommodations for each style, as well as the ways that these kids learn with the different styles, as well as obstacles that are faced within the different learning styles. I also teach classes on dyslexia to get your dyslexic child thriving, as well as ADD and ADHD and other spectrum kinds of disorders if you are interested in that. It's over 6 hours of training with everything that you need for your own step-by-step plan. You can just click the link below if you're interested in that. The concrete sequential kids and parents prefer doing things the same way, so they really need a structured routine. They work best with those who do not hesitate to take immediate action. They are more interested in obvious facts than in finding hidden meanings. These kids prefer a neat and orderly environment. So you can see where there may be a challenge here if you have a concrete sequential student or a child and the parent may not be that way, or vice versa. These styles ask first, well, how do I do it? So they want to know what the end is and then how to get to that end. They need a list step by step on how to get it all accomplished. The next style, the abstract sequential learner, want as much information as possible before they ever make a decision. These learners need enough time to do a thorough and complete job. These learners prefer to get directions actually in writing. They do not want the directions told to them, or if they are told to them auditorily, they'd also like something in writing to accompany that. They are interested in where the facts actually came from. Where did you get that? How do you know this is true? And then they ask the question, where do I find more information? The next learner is the abstract random learner. And these learners prefer to check with others before they actually make a final decision. They're not very confident. They try to be very sensitive to the feelings of others, and they work well with others. They also work really great in groups. They're not really concerned by an unorganized environment, and they don't mind clutter. Whenever they have a question or they are in doubt, they usually ask the advice of others. The final style is the concrete random style. These learners solve problems creatively. They act on the fly or the spur of the moment. They work best with those who can keep up, and they like frequent changes in the environment. They prefer to learn only what is necessary and nothing more. They do not like a challenge. They'd rather that be for someone else. So just to review that, some characteristics about our concrete sequential learners are they're very hardworking, they're conventional, they're accurate and stable, they're very dependable, they're very consistent, and they are factually organized. Our abstract sequentials, they are analytic, they are objective, they are knowledgeable and thorough. They're very structured and logical, they're very deliberate, and they are very systematic. Our abstract random learners are very sensitive and compassionate. They're perceptive and imaginative, as well as idealistic and sentimental. They're spontaneous as well as flexible. Our concrete random learners are quick and they are intuitive. They're curious and realistic. They are creative and innovative. They are also instinctive and adventurous. So the key term for our concrete sequentials is facts. They apply ideas in a practical way. They organize, they fine-tune ideas to make them more evident or economical. They produce concrete products from abstract ideas, and they work really well within time frames. Now, our abstract sequential learners, our key term is underlying principles. These learners gather data before they make decisions. They analyze ideas, they research, they provide logical sequence, they use facts to prove or disprove theories, and they analyze the means to achieve a goal. Our abstract random learners' key term is personal relevance. These learners listen sincerely to others and understand feelings and emotions. They focus on themes and ideas and bring harmony to a group or a situation. They have really good rapport with almost anyone and can make friends with just about anybody, and most people like them. They recognize the emotional needs of others. Finally, we have our concrete random learners. The key term for concrete random learners is compelling reasons. These learners inspire others to take action. They see many options and solutions and contribute unusual and creative ideas. They visualize the future, and they often find a different way to do things. They accept many different kinds of people, and they think really fast on their feet. These learners are also your risk takers. Now let's talk about how things make sense for our different kinds of learners. Our concrete sequentials, things make sense for them whenever we have a systematic approach. They like to work systematically and step by step. They pay very close attention, and they like to have a schedule to follow. They use literal interpretations, and they know what is expected. They want to know what is expected. That's very important to know that. They want to know what's expected before they begin something. They want to have a routine, and they want to do things the way they have always done them. Now let's talk about our abstract sequentials. They use exact and well-researched information. They learn more by watching than by doing, and they use logical reasoning. They need a teacher who's an expert on the subject. They live in a world of abstract ideas, and they want to work through issues thoroughly and completely without missing anything. Now let's talk about our abstract randoms. Our abstract random learners like personal learning. They have broad general principles. They maintain friendly relationships with everyone whenever possible. They participate enthusiastically in projects that they believe in. They emphasize very high morale. They decide with their heart more than they do their head. Now let's talk about our concrete randoms. They use insight and instinct to solve problems. They work through the general time frames rather than specific deadlines. They develop and test solutions. They use real-life experiences to learn, and they would much rather try something for themselves rather than taking someone else's word for it. Now let's talk about things that are difficult for these different kinds of learners. Let's talk about things that are difficult for our concrete sequential learners. It's very difficult for them to work in groups. It's very difficult for them to have a discussion with no specific point. They do not like working in a disorganized environment or following incomplete or unclear directions. They do not really like working with abstract ideas, and they do not like using their imagination. They don't really like questions without a right or a wrong answer. They want it to be black and white. No gray area. Now let's talk about our abstract sequentials. They do not like it when there is not enough time to deal with a subject completely and thoroughly. They do not like repeating the same tasks. They do not like a lot of specific rules and regulations. They do not like sentimental thinking. They do not like expressing their emotions. They do not like being diplomatic when convincing someone else of their point of view. It's difficult for them not to monopolize a conversation about a subject that interests them. Now let's talk about things that are difficult for our abstract random learners. It's difficult for them to explain or justify their feelings. Competition is very difficult for them. Remember, they like everybody. It's very difficult for them to work with unfriendly people. It's very difficult for them to give exact details, and it's very hard for them to accept positive criticism as well as to focus on one thing at a time. Now let's talk about our concrete randoms. What are the things that are difficult for them? Well, restrictions and limitations are very difficult for them. Formal reports and routines are difficult for these learners. Reworking anything after it is finished is very difficult for them. So when I teach writing and I teach my kids that when we edit, we write and rewrite because we're authors, my concrete randoms, they don't really like that very well. So that's a hoop that I have to help them get over, where they continue to feel confident in themselves as we go through that writing process. The concrete randoms have a hard time keeping detailed records and showing how they arrived at an answer. It's also hard for our concrete randoms to choose just one answer, and it's very difficult for our concrete randoms to not have any options. They like to have a lot of different options. Some questions that are asked with our different learning styles are these. For our concrete sequentials, the questions that they typically will ask are, what facts do I need? How do I do it? What should it look like? And when is it due? Our abstract sequentials, questions that they might ask when they're learning, are these. How do I know this is true? Have you considered all of the possibilities? What will we need in order to accomplish this task? The questions that our abstract random learners use are these. What does this have to do with me? And how can I make a difference? And finally, the questions that are asked by our concrete randoms are, how much of this is really necessary? Well, I hope you like this video as an introduction to get you started on the different learning styles and how your child may learn best. Remember, if you have any questions, please make sure to send an email. I'll go ahead and attach all of this into a link below in the description box. I hope this is helpful to you. If you like this video, please make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.